Now you know how to meditate in the unified meditation way. However, your knowledge of meditation is like a painting which has now got all the general outlines, meaning that we know what this painting is about. What this painting of yours lack is the details, the colors, the shades. Without these, the painting will still look beautiful and it will make total sense. However, by adding the colors and minute details, painting gets a new look and life. So this is what this section is going to do for you. Add some colors to your concept of unified meditation. You don't have to take this section too seriously and certainly not literally. Remember, even if you do not understand fully this section or even if you skip it, whatever you have learned about unified meditation so far will make total sense. So I'm shifting gears here. It's no more about what to do when your eyes are closed. Instead, it's how to limit yourself when you try to do stuff, go places, and be different identities while you are meditating. You might wonder, why do we need limits? Well, without boundaries, it's not fun. Even children who play a ball game will create a boundary for themselves. They will even invent rules if they didn't have any. It's just not fun to be able to do anything and everything that comes in one's mind. There needs to be some limitations. Maybe it's human nature, but whatever it is, in this section, I want to create some rules for your activities within the spiritual world. As you noticed with the title of this chapter, I borrowed from physics and geography to make those rules. The reason I chose those two subjects is that they describe how the physical world operates best. Also, as you already know from my life story, I was educated in sciences and geography was one of my best subjects. In this way, I'm quite familiar with physics and geography. Then, the more I think about the resemblance of the spiritual world with the physical world, I find that it's very convenient to bring in physics and geography in the comparison process. If I hadn't studied science, then I wouldn't have been able to write this particular section, I think. So if you have no inkling about science and you're not interested at all about it, and you want to do nothing about your lack of knowledge about the sciences, then just skip this section. However, I have written this section so that even people who have never studied science or at least have had some science education in their school days can understand. Nowadays, very few people study geography, but since it is so observable in the world, as soon as we open our eyes, the examples I give won't be that difficult for you to understand. There is a lot of similarities between the physics and geography of the physical world and that of the spiritual world in my own experience. Now we have to talk in terms of the various subtopics of both those subjects, which we will do later on. However, there are differences in the magnitude in which the various laws of physics manifest themselves in the spiritual world as compared to the physical world. Again, the extent in which the laws of physics and the concepts of geography are broken in the physical world depends very much on the individual's imagination, or what I call the spiritual powers that we again will discuss later on. So, embrace for adding colors and details to the paintings of unified meditations that you already have. Have you ever played a video game? It could be PUBG or Free Fire or Clash of the Clans or Legend or any of the old generation video games like Angry Bird, King Kong, Mario, and so on. Did you notice that in all those games, when you move your character on the screen using your mouse or keyboard, then that character doesn't fly off or erratically move around space. Instead, it seems to obey the law of gravity. Also, in Angry Bird, did you notice that when you throw the objects, they follow a projectile motion, meaning that they'll go far if you use a lot of force, and where the object will hit depends on the angle you throw. Also, you will notice that in most of the games there is friction comparable to that in our physical world. You don't see people slipping or falling because of no friction, or being unable to move because of too much friction. Have you wondered how is that possible? Many people don't do it. However, it's a simple answer. All those video games follow the laws of physics because some programmers programmed those very laws in the program. Without some kind of laws that we program in the game, it would not be fun to play because we'd be able to do anything and there'd be no limits. So we like to have rules, as I told you early on. The next question that begs an answer is, why do those video games very closely mirror the laws of physics of the physical world instead of totally breaking them? Again, it is because in the end we are human beings living on Earth, and we need some kind of semblance with our physical world, even in the world of video games. However, we like to have some exceptions. Sometimes when we jump, we are able to jump a bit higher than normally would be able to in physical world. Sometimes Newton's second law is broken, and even a thin guy is able to throw objects very, very far and break big stuff. However, it's not too much of law breaking here. Using another example of movies, have you noticed that in movies, most of the time, the stunts that are performed break the laws of physics. For example, when somebody punches another person, the later one just flies off. Again, this breaks Newton's second law. The force that is required to move that person so far is far much bigger than the force by which it is hit, so it is impossible. What they show is like a small object causing the damage of a truck moving at 100 kilometer per hour. But in the movies, nobody questions which law of physics they are using. So the assumption is that the heroes of that movie or the villains have got superpowers through which they are able to alter the laws of physics by will. Now, this is where this section comes in. In unified meditation, you as the hero should and can alter the laws of physics to make your meditation more fun and effective. Also, like in a video game, your meditation needs to follow some kind of laws for you to be able to relate your actions in the spiritual world with those in the physical world. Then, because there are so many more senses involved in the spiritual world, here we have to consider more laws of physics than in video games and in movies. In the unified meditation practice, you will have to consider motion, gravity, thermodynamics, friction, sound, light, electricity, magnetism, because all those subtopics of physics have an effect in our meditation. Meditating is far more real than playing a video game or watching a movie. And that is why we need to be clear about the concept of physics in unified meditation. Take a quick look at the diagram. I do not want you to be defensive or shocked or surprised. As I told you, this is not a academic course. It's just a way for us to enrich our meditation practice. Besides learning how to meditate, you will have a refresher course on physics. In a way, maybe your own teacher or professor at school or college wasn't able to teach you. Throughout my education, I was always mocked because of this very eclectic nature of my studying practice. I always try to understand hardcore physics, chemistry, biology subjects as they would have applied in other contexts. Even back then, I was not so much sure about the spiritual world, but I used to use science to explain psychology and the behavior of organizations. When I was young, I didn't know better, so I used to share my thoughts with friends. They would be appalled and shocked and bemused. Many of them thought that I had wasted my engineering course and I'd go to a madhouse. Little did they know that I was understanding my subject so well that even after 30 years, I would still remember what I learned when they would forget it right after the exams. Anyways, I'm planning to write another book on learning the right way about academic courses. For now, let's stick to this subject. So, this diagram is very simple. It talks about four types of physics. The first one is classical physics. This one describes the laws that apply for objects that are bigger than atoms and as big as planets. Also, for the classical physics to work, the speed of those objects needs to be less than that of light. Newton's three law would fall in that. In the next box, you see Einstein relativistic physics. As you can see in the diagram, these sets of laws, namely special theory of relativity and the general theory of relativity, apply for objects that are also very large, like planets or even spaceships. The next condition is that they have to be moving at the speed of light. The third type of physics is the quantum physics, which deals with very small objects, which are very smaller than even atoms. The speed is lower than the speed of light. Similarly, the last one, the quantum field physics, deals with objects that are very small and move at the speed of light. Then, within this structure, unified meditation physics deals with the soul, which is infinitely fast and which is infinitely small. No surprises here, right?